Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Talking Taylor, the wonderful Instagram show we have where you get to talk to dancers and hear about their journeys coming to the company and their experience being part of the Paul Taylor Dance Company. My name is Lee Duvenek. Tonight we're going to be joined by our newest dancer of the company, Jake Vincent, and let's get him on. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I loved that we tried to act like I haven't seen you like an hour ago.
Right. Been so long.
Oh my gosh, it's been forever.
Years.
I hope your journey home was good. Uh, so I have to tell you that I'm very excited for this chat because I was thinking about it, and we've had Christina and Lisa, so we have New York, and we've had Sean for Connecticut. So you finish my tri-state trifecta, and I'm so excited because you are a resident Jersey boy, correct?
Correct. We are
Where'd you
now
grow up in
complete.
Jersey?
Originally South Jersey, so Atlantic County near
Okay.
Atlantic City area.
Okay.
And then I moved to Central Jersey, in a town called Flemington, and then North Jersey. So kind of all over the state.
You just hit them all up. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then an interesting question for all of our male guests is how did you get into dancing?
So I started pretty late. I did some theater in high school, and one of the choreographers of the musical was like, "You're really good. Like you're pretty good. You have some like raw talent. Can you, you know, can you come and dance? I'll give you a scholarship. We need boys." So I was like,
Yeah.
"Sure, why not?"
Yeah.
So I kind of just dove headfirst in, thanks to this wonderful teacher who saw something in me.
Nice. And what age was that at?
That was like around 16, 17.
Okay, cool. So like it's high
Mm-hmm.
school, you've gotten a little bit over like that, the weird, awkward middle school years.
Oh, I mean, I think I still was fully in it at that time. I didn't even
Okay.
exit it. Maybe still didn't exit it. Maybe I'm still in it. But yeah, for sure.
Nice. And so that had to have gone well. Were you studying like obviously like studio jazz? Were you doing tap? Were you doing ballet kind of?
It was more of like a competition school, so we did a
Okay.
lot of commercial things. I got to perform at the halftime show at the Knicks game. So it was just like really cool random things, and it was a really wonderful studio experience. But definitely not classical, modern, or anything in that vein.
But but you were kind of bitten by the dance bug, right? Because then did you end up going to college for dance specifically?
Yes, so I was kind of in a dilemma my senior year. I was like, I'm not going to go to college. Like I'm gonna go to LA and be a movie star because it's super easy and like it's like anyone can do it. I'll be there a week, it'll be fine. And then I was like, maybe I should have a backup plan. So I auditioned for Montclair State in New Jersey,
Yeah.
and I was accepted, and I was like, I'm gonna go with this one. And
Yeah.
then I started dance there.
I think you made the right choice. I mean, I
I
hear
think
there's a lot
so.
of people that are like the 1 week and it'll be fine. I think La La Land was all about people like that.
Oh yeah,
And it takes a little bit longer.
just a bit.
Although I could definitely see you working the barista on like the movie studio lot, a la like Emma Stone. So
Yes, goals.
goals. Um, so while you were at Montclair, what were you studying, and did you have any Taylor while you were there?
Yes. So my first semester, actually, technically before the semester even started, was an audition for a piece called Company B, which I've never heard of. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but all the men have to go to this audition.
Yeah.
So Joao and Linda Kent, two alumni, Joao's on faculty at Montclair,
Sweet.
and they came and led this audition for Company B. And literally, my before my semester even started, I was doing Taylor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What role were you doing in Company B?
Um, what did I do? I did Johnny.
Oh, you did Johnny.
Yeah,
Fun.
yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah. And so what was that experience like getting to do Company B so early? Was it, I mean, it sounds like you were pretty like new to like modern dance in general. So, but I feel like Company B is like the perfect piece to kind of usher you into it because it does kind of have that jazz vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I still didn't know if I wanted to do theater still. So
Right.
it was kind of like the perfect combo because I grew up playing sports, so it was like very athletic, but I also like started doing theater as well. So it kind of was like this perfect thing. Like this feels great. I want to keep doing this. And yeah, it kind of like played to both sides of my personality.
Yeah. Wait, I skipped over this part. what sports did you play?
Oh, I grew up playing baseball and soccer, mostly baseball
Uh,
though. Yeah.
See, that's funny because whenever I think of baseball, I always think of Takahiro, and him and that
Yes.
dance maker being like, I played baseball in Japan, and you guys had that same hair. So I
Yeah.
think you must be connected to Take in that way.
Baseball and hair. It's connecting us.
Baseball and hair. When you're doing Esplanade, you have to do the whip of the hair because Paul loved it.
Totally. Totally.
Awesome. Well, what other things were you involved in at Montclair? Like, when did you you were like, the dance bug has caught me. Like, I'm not going to do theater anymore.
It was pretty early on, so I started just throwing myself into random auditions for things. And I just so I let me back up. So my freshman year, I was like, I need to keep studying because I need to catch up because I started so late. And I talked to Joao, and he was like, you should do the summer intensive. And that was the summer intensive where they did that one like 2 week the pre-pro thing.
Hmm.
So it was so fun, but it was so packed. We learned like 4 pieces of rep a week, and
Yeah.
I got to dance with Ray, which was so cool. So it was just like this whole, I'm sure we'll get to that later. But it was really cool. Yeah, so I just
Was
kind of,
that the intensive that Ray got hired from? Yeah.
yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like brand new in Taylor too at the time. So I was like literally like learning the piece right before I taught it to you and just trying to act like I knew what I was doing.
Well,
Faking
you
it till I
fooled
make
me.
it.
I was like, oh, he's been doing this forever.
I mean, I feel like you understand that it's the skill that we all have as Taylor dancers if you fake it till you make it. So,
Oh, absolutely. It's my everyday routine.
okay, cool. So it sounds like Joao was definitely kind of guiding you into this, as like a mentor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, for sure.
And I think we all have to explain to people the magic that is Joao and his class and his personality and that accent that is so great. Can you tell us about working with him a little bit?
Oh, it was amazing. I just thought he was so funny. Like he's just like this like larger than life personality, and he cares so much. And it was really great because he has such like an awareness of body alignment, and I really needed that because I was kind of like all over the place. I just wanted to dance and like throw my body to the ground and get up. And he was like, take a second, organize yourself before you break yourself. And yeah, so it was really one. I loved every second of it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I feel like Joao, he was like that go for broke kind of dancer on stage, and I feel like it's so funny because now he's like is trying to like help the babies that he is like. He's like, I understand having a lot of energy.
Yes.
So, my favorite story of his is when, oh, I forgot. I think it was it Musical Offering that he was in that he like did the solo so fast that he had to like start it over again, and he had to do it
Yes.
twice. Uh, yeah, that's my worst nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Um, so so you ended up graduating from Montclair.
Hmm.
Awesome. And then what was the experience like before you officially joined the Taylor clan? What kind of companies were you working for, and what was those experiences like?
Well, after graduation, I started working with a company called 10 Hairy Legs. It was
Yeah.
an all-male contemporary rep company. So I got to do a few projects with them, which was super cool. And then I also was working with Christian Von Howard in Von Howard Project, and also Earl Mosley in Diversity of Dance. So I was definitely like living the freelance life, which was really fun, and I got to like be exposed to so many different styles of dance, which I think is like really awesome for young dancers right out of college. And then like my first like full-time position was with Ryu Dance New York, and I danced there for 3 years. And I got to tour around the world and perform at the Joyce, and it was wonderful because I think if I didn't have Ryu prior to Taylor, I would. It really like Ryu kind of shaped me into that like full-time job mentality, and I got like a crash course in Graham, so it was good. It made me strong.
It's the crash course in Graham that is really just gonna like help you get through it.
Totally.
Where was a fun place that you toured with Ryu? Because I know Ryu was always Europe was like you guys' jam.
Yeah. We went to like Germany, Switzerland, Italy, France, and like the European audiences are just wonderful. They just eat up modern dance so much, and they really just want to see more and more and more. And I would say that the place in Switzerland was like particularly beautiful because it was like mountains outside of our dressing room, and it was like snow was falling, and I'm like, yeah, this is magical. I could do this for a while.
I think I'll stay with it. That
Yeah.
sounds amazing. So then after Ryu, is that when you joined Taylor too?
Yes, I we just finished our Joyce season like a week prior, and they
Mm.
posted an audition, and I've auditioned a few times, and yeah, I auditioned, and that was like the mass hiring audition, I guess, with Paul, which was kind of amazing and
And
scary and terrifying.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That was, I think that for all those that don't know, that was the audition that Paul moved me into the larger company. He hired Jake to, in a way, replace me, and he also hired Alex as well as Irving. And yeah, there was a lot of hires that came from that. And I think that was Paul's, I think his like last audition. So, but it was super magical that whole day, obviously for both of us. But I felt like he was so kind of, I think he had a special place in his heart for a men's audition and getting to see us kind of like kill ourselves to do it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and for me, I was lucky because he kind of hired me quickly, and then I got to kind of just watch everybody work. So I remember, this is interesting that we're talking about it this week because I remember we had to do it like a Brandenburg's pass in that audition, and like you and I were in the same group, and this is like the one thing that we did together. And I like looked at you and you looked at me, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do it. I remember I needed to smile at somebody to get through
Yes.
because it was so kind of nerve-wracking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smile through the stress for sure.
Yeah. I was like, if I don't have fun, this is just too much. This is overwhelming.
Totally.
Yeah. So then you joined Taylor too, and you were there for 3 years,
Just about three.
just
Yeah.
about.
Hmm.
And what was Taylor 2's experience like for you?
Well, it was like magical. It was wonderful. I well, my first day of work, you taught me Tracer, which was kind of awesome. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, you're gonna learn to dance. Let's go. Day one, let's go.
Here's a full Paul part where he puts in like the hardest tricks possible.
Yeah, I still remember that was so fun. And then it was kind of crazy though, because our first week of hiring, it was like in the middle of a pretty dense tour schedule. So
Yeah.
we had to learn 7 dances and 9 rehearsals. So it was stressful, but it was great because I got a really intimate view into Paul's work very quickly, and I got to really like hone it in my body and figure out how I can make all these things come together on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that today actually, because I was like looking at people and thinking about how crazy it is in Taylor too that, you just take over like a lead part in Airs that somebody would need to work for so long to like, work their way up in the main company in that sort of way. And Taylor too, it's kind of like, no, you need to learn it 2 weeks into the job. So you're kind of magically learning Taylor through doing the rep so much.
Yeah, exactly.
What were some of your favorite roles to perform in Taylor too?
I really did enjoy Tracer a lot. I thought it
Did
was
you?
really, yeah, I really
Yeah,
did.
good.
It was difficult, but I really liked it. Um, I loved doing Oriole, of course. I mean, I just think it's like a quintessential, just like all around perfect piece.
Yeah.
And I think I can watch it as just as much as I can do it. It's just like I
Mm,
never get tired of being in that world for that brief amount of time. And then I loved doing airs, doing the fast slow duet. That was really a wonderful experience. All of them. All of them.
all of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, just three of the hardest parts you named. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
No breaks. He likes a challenge.
Oh, yes.
Um, that's amazing. And then, of course, I think the most special thing about Taylor too is how small a group it is. So like you're there and you're with your coworkers and you're kind of like so jam packed because there's only six of you. So you had mentioned Ray before, and I know I had the pleasure of getting to dance with her so much, and she's a great partner.
Hmm.
So I can imagine it was fun to kind of like get to, pick her up and just kind of follow along with her as you're going into airs. She's like, I'll show you what to do.
Oh, yeah. And as you know, she just kind of like levitates and you just kind of get behind her and look like you're lifting and she just does all the work herself. And she's like, yeah, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just don't worry. Don't worry about it.
My
She's so
favorite thing about
cool.
Ray is just kind of trying to remind her, like, you don't have to do it on your own. I can help you. I think it will be better for the both of us. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, fine.
Fine.
She once, we were doing profiles, and those like big like swoon lifts that you have to do.
Yeah.
She did it, and like I didn't think she was doing it, and she totally just went "Wah," down on the ground, and I was just like, Ray, what are you doing? No, and she was just like, oh, I thought we were doing it. I was just like, no, you said you weren't. Anyway, so that was the one day she didn't levitate, and I felt bad about it. But
We all have our days. It's fine.
okay, thanks. Um, so you did the magic, and now you joined the Paul Taylor Dance Company in the middle of a pandemic, which, is the craziest thing I've heard in, forever. You're going to have a magical story someday about it all.
Yeah.
So how has it been kind of like both coming back from this crazy time where nobody's been dancing to like starting a brand new job, this new big kind of crazy job? What has this experience been like starting back in, what was that, January, I guess, is when we officially were back?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot, to be honest. Like it was emotional, it was scary because it was like I not only was I starting a new job, but it was also like scary because of pandemic stuff.
Right,
And it was also scary because it's like I'm new and I want to like impress, but I also like haven't danced in a year, so I don't really know what my body is.
right.
It was a lot of things, and I just kind of took it day by day and hoped for the best.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's smart. But yeah, no, as I'm thinking about it now, it's just like I literally went from Taylor 2 into like I had a week where I did both, and then I was in the main company, and like the idea of like having that much time off and then coming back to it is just like I'm sure like I hope you bought a lot of Epsom salt because like I feel like you're probably ripping yourself doing all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So was what was your first Taylor dance back? Was it Gossamer? Was that the first thing you like went into, or was there something
I think it was
else
Gossamer.
was it Gossamer?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think that's kind of nice because it's like
Yeah.
both hard, fast, but it's also fun to do. So I feel like that's a good segue into the madness.
Yes. And it's also great because I feel like going from T2 to T1, like you're used to dancing with five other people on stage, and Gossamer's like all this intricate weaving and
Yeah,
typical Taylor isms. And it was good to like get that in my body. Like, okay, this is the new way of doing things now. Like I gotta lock it in.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, because there's always just too many people on stage. That's what I kept on thinking in Taylor too. Or like when I moved to Taylor, the first company, it was just like there's too many people on stage. I can only take five and me.
Yeah.
Um, so you did Gossamer. This week we've been working on Brandenburg's because you're going to do your like official premiere, sort of, in a theater next week, right? We have our show in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania that will be live streamed. So what's the Brandenburg's experience like, if I may ask? How is it for you?
To be honest, it scared me so much, like on it to like my core when I was like watching the videos. I was like, this looks so scary. Like I'm not gonna be able to do it. But I don't know. I feel like this week has been kind of great. Everyone's really like letting us take our time, go into it, and figure out the spacing and the intricate pathways. And it's just so joyous. And I was talking to Heather, I think, earlier about it today. I'm like, it's really cathartic to do this work because it's so much traveling. And for dancing in a box for a year, like it's like you can't like you have to smile when you're doing it, and like you have to just like feel all the joy permeate every pore in your body because you're like, I'm jumping and running, and we're so lucky that we can do this like during this time because people are still dancing in box. Some people are still dancing in boxes, you know?
Totally. Yeah, no, that's such a good point. And I think that dance is so interesting because you have this almost like male chorus, male core, the five of us that are like killing ourselves doing this stuff. But then there's also like watching Sean as like the lead guy going around and then getting to like see each of the women come through and do their solos. And they're getting so much better at it. Obviously, Iran has been doing her part for a while, but watching Heather and Madeline step into their new parts is so interesting. But then, I like that we're not like there alone on stage in a way. I always have like my four other guys, and we're kind of like, okay, we're gonna get through this together.
Yeah.
Um, but that's awesome. And then so in the ramp up, I think this week we start your the big challenge, the Promethean challenge. If you really have a problem with too many people on stage, there's going to be a problem because there's just 15 other people.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's got to be exciting for you to like go into this like iconic work.
It's I'm so excited. It's one of my favorites, and yeah, I'm so excited to start it. It just looks like a whole. It looks like there's like Promethean fire on stage, and there's also Promethean fire in rehearsal. It almost seems like two dances that happen, like the learning dance, and then like the dance that happens on stage. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Jennifer Tipton's lighting is so incredible. So like when you're doing it on in the studio, it's like, yeah, it's there, but like then to be on stage and the moodiness of it, and like when we're doing those spins on the floor at one point is like the duet happens where he lifts her over your head and you're just on the floor in the dark, kind of like going around. You can feel the light like literally right over you. It's like it can't be beat because you're just kind of like I'm in the desolate chaos and this feels amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so, but the other thing that I want to talk about was you've worked with so many choreographers in their work that we've actually had the honor of having two choreographers in studio. So maybe talk about working with Michelle Manzanalis, who you were working in her piece pre-pandemic when it was the original iteration with Taylor 2, and now she's come back and she's retooling that material. What was that like coming back to Michelle's work after a while and getting to work with her on a creative project as one of your first things to do?
Mm. Create like being creative and doing that whole element is something that like I really was missing
Mm,
in Taylor 2. I was like, wow, I really miss being in a creative process and being able to have that kind of banter with a choreographer of figuring out like what they want and put it into my body. So when we got to do that again with Michelle, it was really wonderful because she seemed to take the highlights from the first iteration and then bring it into this newer version, this updated version, and I really like where it's going. The mood is kind of this community building bird like mood. I don't want to give too much away, but it's very wonderful to perform that work for sure as we progress forward.
yeah, and I also think that it was so kind of lovely to have that process as we're coming back to the studio with you being new, but even like Sean and Adam, we really didn't have that much time with them like they only really got to perform, January, February, and then we were in lockdown for so long. So I feel like it's been nice to have her process because as a group, we've all gotten to work together on her movement, which is so lovely and luscious, but also kind of specific. And she's throwing us challenges in a way that I think is different from a Taylor style. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's been so nice to kind of do all that together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fun for I feel like the newer people because there's so much stress that goes into like a tailor when you're going into a tailor piece that you're rehearsing that day. You're like, I got to know my counts, I got to know my spacing. But when there's a newer choreographer there that's creating something new on you, there's like a sigh of relief that happens. You're like, okay, I can just be myself and be in the moment, which
Yeah.
is nice.
And we're all kind of starting on like the same level playing field. We're all stepping
Yeah,
in the new together.
exactly.
Awesome. And then of course we've had also Lauren Lovett in the studio, who I I kind of did the opposite of you, where I started with her in the fall, and then she's added in people as we've come back in the spring. But I don't know. I can't give away your entrance, but I've had a lot of fun watching it. Jake is part of a trio that comes in the dance, and it is wild, but it looks like the most fun to do. And her movement is so. She's such an amazing dancer that to watch her do it and then kind of put that into your body is so fun because it feels like you're talking with, a fellow dancer in a certain sort of way, even though she's the choreographer.
Hmm.
But yeah, talk about that trio. How has that been to like work on that so far?
Well, it was so interesting because it just kind of came about in this way that was like I blinked and we were like finished. Like we were just barreling through this trio that was like at light speed. Like I think it was the fastest thing I've ever done in my life. And but it was so exciting at the same time. And I was so happy to be back in the studio and to be back at work and to be working with a choreographer. And I think she had that similar energy where she was really liking what she was making. So I think that just made us like fly through this trio. And there's lifts, there's floor work, there's a whole bunch of things, and it's fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely have like a dance crush on that trio where I'm just kind of like, wow, looks like it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, it
Um,
is it is super fun.
Awesome, awesome. Well, in this last 5 minutes, if anybody would like to please um, put in a question to Jake. I'm happy to read it off, put it in the comments, or you can put it in like the little question box that's down at the bottom. I'm going to lead us off by asking, Jake, talk to me about what's your warm up music playlist. Like, I want to know, like, are you Zen moding? Are you like fangirling? Is it Madonna? Is it Britney? Is it Rihanna? Beyonce? Is it none of the above? Like, or is it depending on the day?
No, it's definitely, I feel like I go in moods. Like I have
Okay.
like two week moods. And right now I'm like hardcore into a disco era playlist.
I mean,
So
between
I
Jessie Ware and
I
Dua
know
Lipa, it's the time.
it
And
is the
Kylie, I
times.
can't even forget. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Queen. Um, but yeah, so like right now I'm really into like a Donna Summer throwback warm up jam.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Okay, well, feel free to like plug your iPod into like the main speakers because I'm always happy for a Donna Summer moment.
All right, don't tell me twice.
We're gonna have all of us just like doing the back exercise to Donna Summer's Last Dance before you know it.
Absolutely. Dreams.
We just have to make sure that Laura's in the room so she can like videotape it. So put it on social media for everyone to see.
That's actually a really good idea. I think we should get on that.
Okay, we'll talk to Law.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
are there any Taylor roles that or dances that you're like itching to either revisit because you did them in Taylor 2 and want to try it out, or maybe a dance that like wasn't in Taylor 2's rep that like you're really looking forward to I don't know, taking on?
Well, one of my favorite works is Sunset. So I would
Ah,
love to be able to. I can't. I love watching it as well. So like even if it were to come back and people were to do it, and I could just sit. I would love it, but I also would love to step into that dance as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Sunset, I got to do it, um, like Alicia Eep's part, and that
Mm,
was kind of, yeah, it's magic. It's so interesting because it's less dancey than anything else,
hmm.
or at least all the dancing seems to be in a character mode. So it's interesting with your theater background, if maybe that's one of those connections there.
Yeah, maybe,
Is
definitely.
there any other, what other works would you be interested in going into?
Hmm. I would love to revisit Sakura.
Mm,
Sorry, profiles, but I was confused. Profiles.
cousins.
Um, yeah, exactly. And we started doing Rose's duet, the white duet, towards the end before lockdown. So I'd
Hmm.
love to kind of learn the full realm of that piece. That would be wonderful to do. And also, like, I would love to bring Company B back and do that. Go bring it back full circle to like when I first started. Like, it would be really cool to do the full cast version of that because I'm so familiar with the six person, and
Yes.
it is, as you know, it's quite different. You're kind of on stage the entire time, so it would be cool to be able to step into like more of a role, singular role aspect of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I did want to like touch on just before we end. Talk to me a little bit about. I know that you got to work with the amazing Ruth Andrian, who I got to work with for a while, but you and Kathy McCann have kind of come into the other company together in a certain way because she was running Taylor too. You mentioned that you were working on the Roses duet, which made me think of it. But what is it like to be working with Kathy now in this new role as kind of, this person where you're like, oh, we're in this together?
Yeah, it's been incredible. I remember when we started working with Kathy, I just felt my dancing. Like I felt like I was in a bubble that I didn't know I was in. And once I started with Kathy, the bubble exploded and I was able to move like through of my artistry and my technique at the same time. And I feel that continuing to happen.
Mm,
I feel like I'm every week my bubble's getting a little bit bigger and I'm able to take in more of what she's saying and what Andy's saying and what all the other dancers are saying. I'm trying to remain as much as like a sponge as possible so I can just learn from everyone.
I think that's a great plan, and you're doing great. And we're all very happy to have you in the studio working with us. And yeah, can't wait to see what you're going to do with all these fabulous roles that you're about to step into. So
We'll see.
you will see. Um, Well, Jake, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you and getting to, find out your story. And yeah, I'm excited to be dancing with you.
Me too.
Yay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back again in another 2 weeks, probably. And we hope that you're well, and we'll see you soon. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.